for me, I like to have a roadmap of where to go, and Talent Stacker lays it out. They give you a roadmap. If you try to do it on your own, you're essentially going in blind, and I think that's the number one thing right there. Yeah. Started out in the Marine Corps, when I was 19, did that for 4 years, moved on to, waiting tables while I was, trying to figure out what was next, and did that for a number of years. I was in community college and I just couldn't quite figure out what I wanted to do. So I had a buddy working in banking. So got into banking for a while. This was around the crash, the housing crash, and, a lot of people were uncertain about what was going on then. So I was kind of stuck in that. And banking just didn't offer a lot of advancement for me at the time because of all that. So I decided to go back to school, get my business degree. It was that time I learned about social media marketing as a career and really started to pursue that. Did that for a number of years, about 7 years actually. Did everything from consulting to helping with small businesses, in-house corporate roles. And at times it brought me a lot of fulfillment because it helped me use my creative skills as a photographer and writer. And I really enjoyed that, but it was so competitive here in Seattle. When I relocated here in 2015 from Southern California, I had trouble getting the position that I really wanted and thought that I saw as my next step. I heard about Salesforce and Talent Stacker on a podcast, and I heard this story of this girl that went through the process of getting certified and getting a job in Salesforce over the course of a few months. And she talked about how approachable it was, how easy to learn it was, and talked about the income potential, talked about being able to work remote. These were all things that really appealed to me because at the bank that I was working at, the income potential was there, but I would have had to stay in this really tough in-person kind of toxic environment, and it was just not where I wanted to be. So I kind of went down the road of Talent Stacker had this 5-day boot camp, and I was just like, hey, I'll try that out, see if it's something that I have at least some interested in, and see if it's something that I could do, and so I did the 5-day challenge. You're in Trailhead a lot on that, and it was fun. It was very learnable. I was like, this is something I feel like I could do, and it really tapped into that problem solving aspect of what I like to do. And yeah, I just decided to go for it. I signed up for the full program and got started. The first half of the program, getting certified, learning Salesforce, that was pretty black and white in the sense that you have this roadmap, you have a dedicated schedule where you're working with a study group. It's a lot of time, it's a big time investment, because if you want to get certified in a reasonable amount of time, you have to be in the Trailhead taking the modules. You're doing this every night and on weekends. And on top of that, you're studying for the exam. And so in one sense, that was the easier part for me because I love to learn. I'm one of those people that loves being in school, I love learning. And so that was the easy part for me, even though it took a lot of time. Now, once I got certified and I started applying for jobs, that's when, there's not as much of a roadmap there. I mean, Talent Stacker does give you a lot of tips and helping you to land a job, with LinkedIn reviews, mock interviews, your volunteer project, which is huge. But man, I bring a lot of baggage to the table in my job search. So like whenever I started the job search for this, even though I had my certification and I knew other Talent Stackers were getting jobs every day, I saw that. I still believed that there was a part of me that believed that this wouldn't work for me, even though I got certified, even though I had the same skills. It's like, it's not going to work for me. I'm going to be the one person that this doesn't work for. And that was a narrative. That was a narrative that was in my head that I had to overcome and every day. I interviewed with at least 30 companies over the course of those 5 months after getting certified. And a lot of these interviews, there were like multiple rounds. I made it to the final round of like 3 and 4 rounds multiple times. And I just was not getting offers. And every single rejection email I got, especially if I got farther along in the process, like a 3rd or 4th round, if I got that rejection email, it just kind of destroyed me, kind of destroyed my spirit. And then I had to turn around and go to the bank and put on the smile for customer service. And that was so exhausting, so mentally and emotionally exhausting. And so, I didn't mention this yet, but before I got a job, I actually put in my 2 weeks at the bank because of that, because of those experiences I was having, because I was struggling so much with the highs and lows of the job search and rejections, and then having to turn around and be a perfect kind of customer service person. It was just becoming too much for me. And so at the end of the day, I did decide to leave the bank before I landed a job. But a lot of the talent sector community knows the story. Like the Monday after my last Friday at the bank, I landed a job, so, which makes me wonder, like, should I have just quit earlier? But this was my journey, But yeah, the highs and lows of the job search. How did I get through those days when I was really struggling with disappointment? It was the community, man. It was logging onto the Facebook group, seeing all these people that are continuing to get jobs every day. Sometimes it was hard to see that because I'm like, man, is that ever going to happen for me? I was thinking that, but at the same time, I was like, no, it's happening, every day, so it can happen for me, I want to highlight real quick the support that I got from the Talent Stacker community and the leadership, and my own network outside of Talent Stacker. Personally, that's what was key for me and hanging on and keep going. It was just the level of encouragement that I got, because, in our public group, I would express my disappointment and frustrations, because I'm a real person. I want to be real with people. I think it's important that the Talent Stacker community is honest and open about the struggles, so we can be there for each other, because that's exactly what happened. I shared my struggles with the group, and all I got was encouragement, and it was so helpful and impactful for me. I reached directly out to Bradley and shared with him my struggles, and he opened up some resources to me, like setting me up with a mock interview with Justin. I kind of believed that maybe I was hitting a wall in interviews, because I was getting interviews. I was getting the second round. I was getting through all of my phone screenings, no problem. So I thought, and Bradley too, he thought, maybe Justin could help me break through that next level. And I really believe that. After I did that mock interview with Justin, he really pointed out some things that helped me a lot and in my next few interviews. And I think that was massively impactful. And that wouldn't have come about if I hadn't expressed, what I was going through. Being in it for a few months and understanding that Salesforce, the Trailhead, is something that you don't need Talent Stacker for. You can get in there and learn on your own, but you don't know what you don't know, So if you're brand new to Salesforce and the Trailhead, you don't know that might be all you need. But even if that is all you need, Talent Stacker helped me get through it in a smooth and much quicker way than had I tried to do it on my own, because they give you so many helpful resources, the study groups, they give you a, kind of a guide, a learning guide on how to get through the program and get certified in a reasonable amount of time. So that is where I found the most value. It's like this, they just give you so many answers that you wouldn't be able to find on your own initially. And then they give you that community, and the community it's massively important in being able to, one, get certified, but eventually get a job as well. You get so much great feedback from the community and help with anything you could ask. I just feel so much more freedom and flexibility and stability. And yeah, I'm just so thankful. I just feel so blessed and lucky, I know I did a lot of work to get here, but I had a lot of help. So, and I cannot be happier. And was it worth it? Yes, it was completely and utterly worth it.